The end of the Han Dynasty and the following Three Kingdoms era were the theatre of a troubled century of chaotic civil war in ancient China. This period would see the nation divided into three battling states: Wei in the north, Shu in the southwest, and Wu in the southeast. The state of Wu was to be established by a man who would change the history of the Chinese nation. Sun Quan was born in 182 under the Han Dynasty in Qiapi County, a famous town that used to be the capital of the previous Zhou Dynasty. His mother, Lady Wu, was orphaned at a young age, but his father, a man called Sun Jian, had heard of her great beauty and personality and married her. Sun Jian was a low-ranking official of the Han Dynasty, and he was believed to be a descendant of Sun Tzu, the illustrious general and author of The Art of War, a true bible of military strategy. In 184, 2 years after the birth of Sun Quan, his father raised troops and joined Zhu Jun, general under the Han imperial court, to quell the Yellow Turban Rebellion, a peasant revolt that had just broken out in the area. Sun Quan's mother decided to move the family further south to Shouchun. It was there, in 189, that Sun Tzu, her first son and older brother to Sun Quan, met Zhou Yu, a charismatic adolescent. They were exactly the same age and became inseparable friends. Zhou Yu offered to the family to move in with him in his hometown. The same year, Emperor Ling of Han fell deeply ill and died, and the year after, military general Dong Zhuo usurped the throne in the capital city of Luoyang. In response, a coalition of regional warlords assembled against him. The coalition, however, did not succeed to restore order, and a massive civil war arose. Sun Jian, the father of Sun Quan and Sun Tzu, decided to pledge allegiance to Yuan Shu, a powerful warlord. He was sent to fight against Liao Biao, the governor of Jing province, and also warlord. In 191, after defeating some of Liao Biao's troops, he was ambushed by enemy soldiers while travelling alone at night, and he was slain by a rain of arrows. Sun Tzu, who was only 16 years old at the time, brought back his father's body for burial. He then raised a militia of his own and in 194 went to meet Yuan Shu. The warlord admired the determination of the young man, and he decided to give him leadership of the remaining of Sun Jian's troops. Yuan Shu promised to make him governor of Jiaojiang and later Luojiang, but he went back on his words on both occasions, appointing someone else instead, which angered the ambitious warrior. Meanwhile, Sun Quan was still a young adolescent and lived with his mother. Yuan Shu then sent the Sun brothers' uncle as well as their cousin to attack Liao Yao, another warlord to the south, governor of Yang province. They were not successful, however, and Sun Tzu then requested men to attack in turn. In 195, at the age of 20 years old, he was able to conquer large portions of Liao Yao's territory with the help of his childhood friend Zhou Yu. He eventually defeated Liao Yao the same year, to everyone's surprise, keeping the territory for himself. Sun Tzu asked for his family to be brought to his new land and made Sun Quan magistrate of a county in 196 when he was only 14 years old. Sun Quan, who became a person with a sharp sense of humor and good at making friends, became more and more important under the guidance of his elder brother. In 197, Sun Tzu broke all remaining ties with Yuan Shu when the warlord declared himself emperor in an act of treason against the Han imperial court. He also wrote to his uncle and his cousin, who still both served under Yuan Shu, asking them to defect and join him. The imperial court was secretly controlled by a rising warlord and brilliant general, Cao Cao, who launched a campaign against Yuan Shu, recruiting many surrounding warlords. Cao gave Sun Tzu the title of Marquis of War, the area he had conquered 2 years before, in exchange for his support against Yuan Shu. Sun Tzu promoted his brother Sun Quan to colonel in 199. That same year, Yuan Shu was defeated by the coalition and died of illness while trying to escape. Cao Cao, wishing to strengthen his ties with the Sun family, offered official posts to Sun Quan and Sun Yi, his younger brother. They however refused. In the year 200, Sun Tzu was ambushed while hunting alone in an attempt to assassinate him. He was fatally wounded and on his deathbed decided to designate his brother Sun Quan as his heir. At the age of 18, Sun Quan became Marquis of War. Many subordinates did not agree, claiming Sun Quan was too young. Lie Shu, one of them, administrator of Luojiang, rebelled and swore allegiance to Cao Cao instead. Sun Quan then wrote a letter to Cao to inform him of this treason, therefore creating a justification to retake Luojiang and defeat Lie Shu. which Cao Cao accepted. Other subordinates, on the contrary, admired Sun Quan, such as Zhou Yu, his late brother's childhood friend. Lady Wu, his mother, gave advice on the young Marquis on how to administer the territory. During the following years, Sun Quan wisely appointed men of talent to military and civilian positions. The Marquis of Wu preferred defense and development to aggressive expansion. He did, however, continuously harass Huangzu, subordinate of Liao Biao, the warlord of the neighboring Jing province to the west. Huangzu had been the orchestrator of the ambush to kill his father back in 191. In the year 208, Sun Quan sent Zhou Yu to attack Huangzu. Huangzu attempted to flee, but he was caught up and killed by a cavalryman. Sun Quan specifically asked for his head to be carried in a container and presented it in sacrifice to his father's temple. Meanwhile, Cao Cao, who had secured his north, started a campaign south to Jing province to attack Liao Biao. The old warlord, however, died of illness at the end of 208. A succession struggle between his two sons, Liu Cong and Liu Qi, erupted. Liu Cong was designated as the rightful heir, and Liu Qi received Huangzu's old position. Caught in a crossfire between his brother and the approaching Cao Cao army, Liu Cong surrendered to Cao. This did not sit with Liu Bei, a warlord from the north who had fought numerous times against Cao Cao and had found refuge in Jing province. He refused to surrender and fled further south. In October 208, 5,000 elite cavalrymen led by Cao Cao caught up with the retreating Liu Bei at the Battle of Changban. Liu Bei suffered a great defeat, but he was able to escape again, seeking shelter under Liu Qi. By now, Cao Cao controlled most of China. Sun Quan, realizing it was only a matter of time before Cao Cao attacked him, forged an alliance with Liu Bei and Liu Qi, who still controlled the south of Jing province. Cao Cao wrote a letter to Sun Quan to force him to surrender by intimidation. He claimed he would attack with 800,000 men. Sun Quan's army numbered no more than 30,000 soldiers, and Liu Bei and Liu Qi 10,000. Sun Quan's advisors begged him to surrender, but a few, like Zhou Yu, told him not to. The armies were mobilized. Cao Cao's army, numbering at least 200,000 men, arrived near the Red Cliffs, next to the Yangtze River. The combined army of Sun Quan, Liu Bei and Liu Qi, counting 50,000 troops, were making preparations. Sun Quan's troops were commanded by the cunning Zhou Yu, who placed most of them on ships on the river. Liu Bei's forces stayed on land. The first skirmish, in the end of the year 208, saw Cao's army retreating. A great naval battle was, however, preparing on the Yangtze. Zhou Yu set a trap for Cao Cao's army, where he pretended to punish a subordinate by humiliating him with a public beating. That person was Huang Gai, an orphan self-taught in reading and in the military arts, who had enlisted on the Sun Jian back when the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out. He therefore had strong ties with Sun Quan. Now a prestigious general, he faked surrendering to Cao Cao due to the false punishment of Zhou Yu. Huang Gai wrote a letter explaining the situation and how he was offering to serve a new warlord. Cao Cao received the message and after studying it, believed Huang Gai's intentions were sincere. Later on, Huang Gai's ships detached from the combined fleet and arrived toward Cao's. When the ships were next to each other, they were set ablaze, destroying a huge portions of Cao's fleet. In the chaos, a disorganized battle took place. Cao's fleet was beaten. During the conflict, Huang Gai was struck by an arrow and fell in the river. Han Dynasty, another general who had also served on the Sun Jian at the time, brought him back on a ship and saved his life. Cao ordered his remaining forces to disembark and escape, but they were caught up by Liu Bei's forces and Sun Quan's land troops. Cao Cao was defeated and had to retreat north, abandoning most of Jing province. While Liu Bei took control of the south of the province, Sun Quan took control of its northern half, appointing Liu Qi as its inspector, who was finally succeeding his father. Liu Qi died a few months later, in 209, which gave Liu Bei the opportunity to take control of all of Jing province. Zhou Yu advised Sun Quan to put Liu Bei under heavy surveillance, even to put him under house arrest, as he should not be trusted. He also made plans to attack Liu Zhang and Zhang Lu, who controlled the west of the country. Zhou Yu did however die of illness in 210 at the age of 36. Sun Quan mourned for days and declared, "Zhou Yu possessed the caliber of a talented advisor to a ruler. Now that he has died at such a young age, who can I still rely on?" Nonetheless, Sun Quan continued to make progress. While he agreed to concede parts of northern Jing province to Liu Bei, Xie Xie, the warlord of Jiao province to the south, submitted to him, increasing the territory of Eastern Wu. Cao Cao, however, had not yet given up his ambitions on the south. He attempted an invasion against Sun Quan at Ruoxu in 213, with 400,000 troops. He was met there by Liu Meng, leader of the Eastern Wu army. Liu Meng had started his military career as young as 14 or 15 years old, when he followed his brother-in-law, an officer under Sun Ce, into battle. The officer disapproved and warned his mother about the situation. When she confronted him, he answered, "It is difficult to survive in poverty. If we can prove ourselves through hard work, then wealth will come eventually. How can we catch the tiger cub if we do not enter the tiger's den?" A local official regularly mocked and provoked the young warrior, stating he was useless and reckless. In a spike of anger, Liu Meng killed the official and sought refuge under a colonel of Sun Ce. Sun Ce later talked to him and decided to pardon him, even taking him under his wing. Along the years he rose in ranks. As he was illiterate, Sun Quan pushed him to educate himself by reading, which he gladly accepted to do, becoming quite erudite. In 213, Liu Meng was able to resist Cao Cao's invading army. Cao had to retreat again. Shortly after, Liu Bei conquered Yi province to the west. When Sun Quan asked him to return Jing province to the territory of Eastern Wu, he refused. Meanwhile, Cao Cao was constantly menacing both Sun Quan and Liu Bei, who technically still shared an alliance. Liu Bei asked Sun Quan to attack Cao Cao at Hefei to create a diversion. In exchange, he would agree to cede back most of Jing province to him. Therefore, Sun Quan personally mobilized 100,000 men in 214. They laid siege at Hefei fortress, protected by only 7,000 men. This should be an easy victory, and it could mean the end for Cao Cao. Thank you for watching my video, I hope you enjoyed it. Part 2 will be linked in the description below. Please don't hesitate to like and subscribe, and should you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below.